Ever wonder why some people seem to handle stress better than others? What's their secret? Well, it all boils down to understanding stress and how we cope with it. Stress, in essence, is our body's response to any demand or challenge, and it's a universal experience. Yet we all react to it differently. This is where coping mechanisms come into play. Coping mechanisms are strategies that we employ to manage stress. They're like our personal toolkits that help us navigate through life's ups and downs. Among these tools, there are two main strategies that people often use: approach and avoidance. Approach strategies involve tackling the stressor head-on, while avoidance strategies involve reducing stress by distancing oneself from the stressor. These strategies can vary in effectiveness depending on the context and individual. Therefore, it's crucial to understand them, as they can greatly influence how we manage our stress levels. Understanding these strategies can be the key to improving your own stress management skills. Approach strategies. Ever heard of them? They are all about facing the stressor head-on. These strategies are the equivalent of staring down the barrel of a gun, metaphorically speaking, and deciding to fight rather than flee. Let's dive a bit deeper. Approach strategies involve directly confronting the stressor. This could mean speaking up in a meeting when you'd rather stay quiet, or tackling a difficult task head first instead of avoiding it. It's about taking control of the situation and making active efforts to change it. But it's not all about going solo. Approach strategies also involve seeking social support. This means reaching out to friends, family, or professional help to navigate through the stressor. Think of it as calling for backup when the battle gets tough. Then comes problem solving. This is where we roll up our sleeves and get down to business. With problem solving, we identify the cause of the stress, brainstorm possible solutions, and then put a plan into action. It's like being a detective, piecing together the clues to find a way out of the stress maze. To paint a clearer picture, imagine you're having trouble at work. An approach strategy could be discussing the issue with your supervisor, seeking advice from a mentor, and then creating a plan to improve your performance. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, remember, tackling it directly can be a healthy way to cope. Now let's switch gears and talk about avoidance strategies. Sometimes it might seem easier to just avoid the problem, right? Imagine you're an ostrich. When danger approaches, you might bury your head in the sand, pretending the threat doesn't exist. This is a classic example of an avoidance strategy, where you distance yourself from the stressor, denying its existence. But remember, just because you can't see the danger doesn't mean it's not there. Avoidance strategies are not just about physical distance. They also involve emotional and mental distancing. For instance, you might suppress your feelings, refusing to acknowledge them, or you might distract yourself with other activities. Ever found yourself cleaning the house when you should be studying for an exam? That's an avoidance strategy at work. But why do we resort to avoidance? Well, in the short term, it can provide a sense of relief. It can help to reduce immediate stress and anxiety by giving us a break from the stressor. It's like hitting the pause button on a scary movie. However, avoidance is a bit like a band-aid. It might cover the wound, but it doesn't actually heal it. And over time, unchecked stressors can grow, becoming more significant and harder to manage. So, while avoidance strategies can offer a temporary breather, they're not always the most effective way to deal with stress in the long run. It's like kicking a can down the road. Eventually, you'll have to pick it up. Avoidance strategies can provide temporary relief, but remember, they might not be the best long-term solution. But here's the thing, there's not a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to stress. Just as we have different outfits for different occasions, the same applies to our coping strategies. This is where the concept of coping flexibility comes into play. Coping flexibility is the ability to switch between different coping strategies, depending on the situation at hand. Imagine this. Approach strategies are like your trusty umbrella, perfect for when life showers you with manageable worries. But when the storm of stress gets too intense, that's when avoidance strategies, your raincoat, can help you weather the situation. The beauty of coping flexibility is that it allows us to maximize the effectiveness of our coping strategies. It's not about using one strategy all the time, but about knowing when to use which one. It's like a dance between the rain and the sun. each stepping in when it's their turn. In the end, the best way to cope with stress is to adapt your strategy to fit the situation. Remember, flexibility is key. So, what have we learned today? We've taken a deep dive into the world of stress and coping, unraveling the mysteries of approach and avoidance strategies. Approach strategies, remember, are those proactive measures we take to directly address the stressors in our lives. They're about tackling problems head-on, whether it's by seeking support or actively problem-solving. On the other hand, we have avoidance strategies. These are the tactics we employ to sidestep stressors like distraction or denial. While they may provide temporary relief, they're not always the most effective in the long run. But the key lies in coping flexibility. It's about having a variety of strategies at your disposal and knowing when to use each one. It's about adapting to the situation at hand and switching strategies.
Want to rise to your full potential in your studies and revise like a boss? You can trust Study Guide today to have you covered. Subscribe to this channel and see our website linked in the description of this video to see revision articles to maximize your study gains.